Hi everyone, Sharon here. I just did an entire video and it did not record, so I'm going to do it again. I am doing a watercolor greeting card by request. Somebody asked for a simple beginner's card, and what I'm going to do today is something called the wet in wet technique. What you'll do is you'll take a large brush, a wash brush of some sort. It can either be a flat or even a large round brush. If you have a large round brush, I'm going to use my Silver Black Velvet 3/4 inch oval. It's one of my favorite wash brushes. It's nice and juicy. And you're just going to take a piece of watercolor paper. This one doesn't matter what size, something medium size. This is just 6.5 by 7.5, it looks like. And it's fine using that. Not a big deal because we're going to change the size at the end. And I'm going to go ahead and wet this entire piece of paper down so that it's glistening wet. Just let that water get right in there. You can tape the edges of the card down if you're concerned about it folding up on you. This paper that I'm using is just a Fabriano student paper, which is 25% cotton. And it works just fine for greeting cards. I like it for that. Now I'm going to start with some ultramarine blue, and I'm going to kind of push this down with my fingertip here, and I'm going to just color in a bit of a sky. And I'm going to let the water that's on the paper do its thing. And I'm going to go ahead and make some clouds in the sky just for added benefit. And then I'm going to take my brush, slightly cleaned. I still want a little bit of blue on it. And I'm just going to go ahead and wash this down. And what this does is softens the edges and brings the sky down further. And it slowly gets lighter with like what a real sky would do. I'm sorry, I can't speak today for some reason. Now I'm going to use some quinacridone pink. You can use any color you want. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to kind of splatter in. I need to get this wet again though because it's drying so fast. I'm just going to go ahead and wet it all the way down to the bottom again. And I'm going to just kind of splatter in a little bit of pink here and there. If I can, there it goes. And it doesn't matter how big it gets because this is a background color. I didn't really want it to go that low. You want to keep it in the middle section. It can get up into the sky a little bit. Okay. I'm just going to tap it and get a little more pink in the background. That's what I want to do. And now I'm going to go like this again. I'm going to kind of get rid of some of that pink because here in the bottom I'm going to lay some sap green in. And the way we're going to do that is we're just going to take it and sweep it up like grass. And it does not matter how big the grass is because we're going to be doing layers, different layers in this card. My green's getting dirty because of the pink. What it's doing is, because red and green are complementary colors, it's just kind of doing its own thing here, and it's turning a kind of a grayish brown. I'm just going to sweep off this excess water off of my edge of the paper because I have a puddle. Got a little bit too wet, which is fine. We're not even going to be using the edge of the paper. There. That's perfect. Okay. Now, that was pretty easy, wasn't it? Now, we're going to go ahead and go back to the pink before it's fully dry. It's a little damp here. And I'm going to take a pointed brush. I think what I'll use now is my Escoda Versatile Travel Brush. And I'm just going to take some pink on it, and I'm going to splatter it down on here again, trying to be careful. I don't want too much in the blue sky, but it really doesn't matter. And then I'm going to take a little bit of purple, just for a little darker color, and I'm going to do a little bit of purple in there too. Just here and there, not a lot. What I should have done is covered up this blue, but it's a little late now. There. Okay. That's okay. That can be petals flying away. Now we're going to go ahead and let this dry. Okay, now that this is dry, or almost dry even, that's fine. We're going to go back into the green, and I'm going to take the green, a sap green again, or even a lighter green, doesn't matter, and we're just going to kind of add some flecks of green in here like this too. Okay, now we're going to let that dry. Okay, now this green is dry, and I'm going to go back in again with sap green to start on a pointed brush, something that you can get a fine point with, like this. This is a size 8, but it really doesn't matter what size, and I'm just going to lightly brush grass up into here. Now I'm using the sap green first, the lightest green that I used before, because I want this to kind of be in the background. And I'm just going to sweep it up, right up into the pink and purple area, or whatever color it was that you used. Then once I get that done, I'm going to go back in with a darker green. I'm using something called Green Apatite Genuine, which is a Daniel Smith color, and it's a deeper green and very, very strong pigment. This one got really dark. Whew. The different colors of green are adding, or different values, I should say, of green are adding some depth to this. Now don't worry if you're not getting along the bottom edge of this. If you're using a big enough piece of paper, it won't matter, because what we're going to do next is we're going to do something called deckled edges. A deckled edge is where you have a torn edge of the piece of paper. Now the card that I'm making, I'm going to make with some Fabriano Studio Watercolor, which is a student grade of watercolor paper, and this is hot press paper. It's smooth, which is great for cards, and this is a 9x12 sheet. So what I'm going to do is take the 9-inch side, about 5 1/4, because I'm going to be folding this sheet of paper in half, and I don't want a square card. The reason for that is that square cards cost more for postage. So if I don't make it square, it's a little bit easier for someone to mail. So I'm just going to do about 5 1/4. I'll go 5 1/2 right now. I can always cut it down from there if I need to. Okay, so now I've got my sheet of paper. I cut that, and I'm going to fold it in half. So I'm going to grab my trusty little bone folder here. Make sure your surface is dry and there's no watercolor down there to ruin your card. I've done that so many times I can't tell you. And then you're just going to fold it in half. And once you get the edges lined up real good, then take your bone folder. You get up in here. I'm sorry I'm not in the frame because I don't have any space. Okay, I'm just going to make this the half mark here, and then I'm going to push up to fold my card, and that way I don't lose my edge, and then I get a nice perfect edge on here. Okay, now as you see, this is much smaller than the size of the card, so now we're going to go ahead and deckle the edges. We're going to cut off quite a bit of the grass, That's why I said we didn't need to worry about the bottom edges of the grass coming to the bottom because it's going to be gone anyway. So I'm just going to start here by taking off about 3/4 of an inch. That's nice and easy to tear. Then just grab it. You need a nice sharp edge ruler to do this, or some sort of straight edge. And I'm just going to let that paper be torn like that. And then I'm going to do the same up top. I'm going to take off about an inch of the sky, which I always hate to do because it seems like the top of my sky is the best looking part, especially since I got all these speckles up in my sky, but that doesn't matter. That could be pieces of flower petals blowing in the wind, right? Now this is going to just be a simple card. What you could do is put a backing on it, make this a little smaller even, put a backing paper on it, and we'll do that in another video. We can also tie a bow around the bottom. What I'm going to do is just a simple card today. All you need is paper. And my sentiment I'm going to put on the front of the card, I was going to put on with my Stays On ink, but I had bought a new one and I don't know where I placed it. This one is dry as a bone. So what I'm using today is a Tombow marker. You can use any water soluble marker you want and it'll have the same effect. It's just that you cannot get it wet afterward because it will reconstitute itself and it will make a bloom all over your sheet of paper. So make sure you don't do that. And you can take as much time as you want with this. Your ink may dry, but that's not a problem because, like I said, you can reconstitute it. You can either do it with a small, fine mist spray bottle, or you can do like I do and just huff on it with your mouth. Warm it up, and I'm going to put this sentiment right over some of this mess that I made. And there we go. For with God, nothing shall be impossible. And I'm just going to go ahead and glue this down on the paper. And I don't mind that these edges go over a little bit. I think it looks kind of interesting for the card. So I think I'm just going to put it on like this, and I'm not going to wrap a bow around the bottom or anything. Make sure that your ink is dry. Let's see here. It looks like it's dry. I'm going to move my card out of the way just in case it isn't. And then I'm just going to use my double-sided tape. Put my edges down. And then a couple in the middle. And that was more than a couple, wasn't it? Looks like I got a little dot on this card. The back side is clean, so I'm going to cover that with, with this. Make sure it's right side up. You guys are probably screaming at me through the video. Turn it around before I ruin it. Okay, and there we go. And I'm going to just use my bone folder to set that down because my hands are very dirty right now from watercoloring. There. Now this is a very simple card, but that's it. Simple and easy. You can put a string around the inside if you want, or whatever you want. I'm leaving this blank inside. You can stamp a sentiment inside too if you'd like. Be sure to sign the back of your card, handmade by, and then when you send it off, everyone will know that you made it. And that is it. I do have a few others here that I made beforehand, and I do kind of like these two better because they have a little more color to them. This was my first one. My second one that I thought was video running, and the video was never turned on. Duh. But then this one is much lighter, so it's a little different. So if you like the video, this beginner card making video, please like the video, and if you are not already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. I'd love to have you, and there will be lots more videos to come. Have a great day.